delete them. Okay, here we are. Woodland, very big deal. Rumble, very big deal. I'm also a big fan of Grazer in the deck. Like the fact that the red builds are like almost just a full turn slower, or like they're just slower without access to Grazer's tough. And then Grazer's also good on your combo turns because you get to play out all of your amulets and then Grazer to go off to make more mana. This is always kind of nice. Or hopefully we get like one more 64 draft. Okay, keeping this. Get this in the Mox Field too. Let's keep that. Got a lot of looks at a Karn or a ring. Is this creativity? No, yet another Storm gamer. Now they graveyarded a Rao. Maybe they needed the land, but I think that probably bodes poorly for me, I'll say. So I'm going to take another amulet. I think I'm just going to cast it now. A lot of mana for next turn. Yeah, this is like our 7th Storm opponent today, which is kind of wild. Have y'all been experiencing this much Storm? Is it just weird matchup lottery? Is it there's something going on today I didn't get a memo for? There's a Ral, there's a Gemstone Caverns. The Caverns might be a bit awkward if they just have Reckless Impulse because it taps for Colorless. Okay, they are out of juice here. 2 cards in their hand. Ding, ding, ding. Ring, ring, ring. Now I'm probably floating 2 blue instead of a green after the after we play the ring because we wanna be able to draw more Twiddles, but finding strings immediately is pretty crazy. Strings is so nuts of the stack. There's a Vizier. Typically I like to use Vizier for mana instead of cards in these spots because it's like it's pretty costly to use it for cards. Doesn't matter exactly that much, I guess. There's a Karn. Let's just go ahead and untap the ring here. 2 more Twiddles. Pretty nice. All right, GG. Yet another Aetherflux Reservoir deck on this channel, of course. Can never get enough of that card. Still have protection from everything, too. So draw 8. So we can't tap the ring again lest we deck ourselves. Perhaps even we might wreck ourselves. So I have at least this hidden strings. Just gotta find, a spell here. Or, well, I guess it'll be like 2 spells, right? Because sometimes in these spots you'll have to like play out your amulets, then Grazer out another Lotus for like an explosion of like 12 mana or more mana too, because you can play multiple Grazers and just put like any tap land into play. Is there any way to play this without rings? Dude, some decks you can play no rings. In the deck that plays a million Twiddles, you have to play the 1 ring. You know what I mean? You have to play the 1 ring in your Twiddle deck. That's kind of like the whole thing is getting to untap it. All right. Well, we turn 3 the turn 3 deck. Feels pretty good. Now, we're not really doing a lot of sideboarding at the moment, and I think that that's kind of okay. Try to use Karn for some resiliency. Maybe we'll like Boseiju a Ruby. There are some like older builds of Twiddle Storm that don't play the ring, but they're like just super out of date, and like your Twiddles are so good with the ring, you know. Okay, so let's keep this. I'm looking, I think, mostly for Amulet off the Stirrings. If we can find land number, if we can find Amulet, if we can find maybe Grazer, we could turn 3. Okay, there's Amulet. So them not playing a Ruby out this turn is a good sign. Them graveyard, I don't really know what to make of them graveyarding this Desperate Ritual though. So probably don't cast the Amulet right now in case they have like Shattering Spree. We kind of play into that. Hopefully we don't die, as usual, but got a pretty good chance to get there if we get to untap. Okay, I mean, this is a good sign that they're just leading on Manamorphose. Untapped Steam Vents. Flame, okay. Does make things harder. Sorry, I guess I don't need to sack the spawn yet. Oh, I do need to sack the spawn if I want to have outs to win. Because I'll need to float a blue mana and draw a Twiddle now that I've lost my second Amulet. So that seems worthwhile to have the ability to get very lucky and win this turn against Ruby Storm, which is obviously super duper capable of killing me next turn. But now that we've bricked, we're also very unlikely to not kill them next turn with the hidden strings in my hand. But we'll see if we are alive. 4 cards in their hand. Some another Manamorphose, looks like it. This Storm, yeah, I think Storm is good. I don't know if there's something else I'm missing. To some extent, like when any day that you stream every day, you're gonna get some weird matchup lottery stuff like this. But I agree that it is odd to have played against it like 7 times today. Okay, so I mean, if we brick, we're not gonna probably beat these 3 cards plus the other 4 in their hand, but. How does Ruby win through Ring? You either wish for Thassa's Oracle and you Manamorphose for Oracle. I prefer Geomancer's Gambit plus Empty the Warrens, but it's basically the same. Geomancer's Gambit's like a lot less clicks though, for whatever that's worth. Oh yeah, sorry. I do always call Alchemist or Geomancer's Gambit Alchemist Gambit, or whatever, vice versa. But it gives the GGs, but they still want to see it done. Nope, done. Additionally, Karn is kind of a more versatile card where it is allowing you to either like win the game, sometimes turn off lock pieces like graveyards, like, you know, targeted graveyard hate like Hearst now Spell Bomb. That's a little less relevant to this deck, but a little bit more like powerful in general. But those are the reasons for Karn over Wish. And I think the reason for Wish is more of a sideboard, absolutely. Surprised to see Rin in 6. They're not Domain Zoo. There's something bigger, I guess. Kind of happy they're using the binding on that and not on the ring. Could also maybe Boseiju this, but we'll see. Don't want to play the Lotus Field this turn. Want to save a Shifting Woodlands if I can, and Boseiju is +1 mana on the binding if I wait on the Lotus Field, which might end up being relevant. We'll see. Is the win con Aetherflux of Karn? Yes. I find it amusing you have a big fear of Wrath of Skies and you're playing an Amulet deck. Well, this Amulet deck is much better against Wrath of Skies compared to versions that are playing Saga and Amulet. Like, if you're just playing one card in your deck that is like, you know, Wrath of Skies is like 3 mana or 2 mana to answer it, it's not that big a deal. You can also hold them in this deck. Like, this is not a deck that is concerned about Wrath of Skies, but I see what you mean. Flage is so strong. I don't know. People really do complain a lot about Flage for a card that is in a lot of games at 3 mana Lightning Helix. Now, what do we do in this game? Shock cast Karn, I think. I guess I'm going to Flames plus Ren and 6 ping. Losing a stab, yeah. I mean, it does seem like that's going to happen. I agree. Mingu was arguing with Javier on the podcast saying that Flage is stronger than the ring. I don't know. I don't know like what I'm not playing. I guess I'm just not playing a lot of Energy and Dimir Frog or whatever. But like I just have not been playing decks where Flage is like particularly good against it. Flage is a good card, absolutely. Flage is one of the better cards in Modern. But to some extent, I mostly think that I think that most people, like, when they talk about cards in Modern, they just they rate win conditions too highly. You know what I mean? Like, Flage is the card that kills you a lot of the times, but also a lot of times it's like 3 mana, too unimpactful, and you lose the game. It happens, you know, pretty dang often. Any thoughts on picking Amulet instead of Ring? We need the Ring to combo. We must pick Ring here. So I think I'm not going to Boseiju this Leyline Binding because I want to Boseiju the second Leyline Binding potentially. So we'll just cast the Ring, and then probably play a Lotus Field tapped now. But also I've been playing a ton of combo decks. Like I've been like almost mostly playing combo decks. Maybe I should have waited on. I guess I should have waited on the Ring tap, but whatever. I've been mostly playing combo decks, so like my perception of Flage is going to be different from people like Javier and Andrea who are playing more interactive, more like creature based decks. I'm gonna be running Moons or Sphere at Hollow One sideboard. I was playing Consign in my Grixis version. I don't know if I wouldn't play Blood Moon. I wouldn't play 3 drops in Hollow One basically at all. And Damping Sphere, I think, is very awkward in Hollow One because you really want to multi-spell. It's like you lose so much speed with the card. I don't know that I would play either. So if they have 3rd Leyline Binding, we're in some trouble. Interesting that they got the 3rd Landfall trigger when it doesn't really do anything. I've got Pro Everything. Blood Moon has been really good decently for the DJs on Hollow One Discord. I guess. I'm just scared to play 3 drops in the 18 land. Like Burning Inquiry deck, but maybe you're right. Maybe you shouldn't be so scared. Obviously, it can be a good card. Why don't you gain some life, opponent? Here, have 4 life on me. Let's Vizier first, since this is uncounterable, and usually you want to Vizier your Lotus Field instead of your Ring. Although I guess if they had a counterspell, oh sorry, this is their first spell they can counter. Thank you, Boseiju. Very cool. Strings is so crazy when you have both of these in play. Just like the best Magic card that ever existed. Draw 4 +1 mana. It's Modal Recall Ritual. Well, Modal isn't exactly the word I think you should use, because Modal kind of implies you only get 1. The Ring is kind of bad now in this situation because if we tap it, again, we lose the game. So usually in these spots, my opponent could have something and isn't conceding. I like to play out my amulets, and then I like to cast a Grazer. Or multiple Grazers. Maybe they have Consign. They could have Consign. I'd say a Consign is conceivable. Let's go to make a little bit more mana here. Is a 1 of 6 bad in this deck? Yes, that'll be $5 a month for the rest of your life. 6 cannot retrace instants and sorceries. It's only good if you have a Karn or a ring in the yard, but you have woodland to kind of get get rings from the yard. So now, if my opponent is trying to like Boseiju my reservoir in response or whatever, we can respond to the killing of reservoir with double Twiddle to win the game. Oh, maybe that's not quite enough. Oh, but I have 3 Twiddles. I think I've played my land for turn already. I might still have a land drop. Yeah, Otawara too. Same thing, I guess. So we just want to... Oh, I did have a land drop. We just want to keep casting green spells because we can respond with the blue ones and if they do anything. And my opponent has like not F6'd yet, so it seems like they could have something. All right, let's put those in the yard. All right, you can come to our hand, Arboreal Grazer. Anybody, speaking of Arboreal Grazer, anybody been playing Black Myth Wukong? I made it to chapter 2. That game has been really fun. It started off kind of like slow and basic. I wasn't sure if I'd like it, but I've been liking it a lot. I'm gonna go steal some of Esther's water too. Be right back. Yeah, you actually play as Arboreal Grazer. Is the main character of Black Myth Wukong. The game has strong Dragon Ball vibes. Yeah, I mean, Dragon Ball was really inspired by Song Wukong, which is kind of the plot of that game too. Well, not gonna mulligan this. Is it another Souls-like game? Like hard as fuck bosses main stuff for the game? Yeah, kind of. It's not exactly a Souls-like. A lot of people have compared it to God of War, saying it's more like that than like Dark Souls, which I think is maybe accurate, but the bosses are pretty tough, and it is a very it's like a more boss focused game than God of War was, so kind of hard to say, I guess. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and just sandbag this amulet so I can not get a leyline binding. How this deck used to win before the ring. Like, Wish. It was very in an Underworld Breach. Kind of like the Pioneer builds, I guess. But better. Sometimes they were in on... This was, I guess, the cool one. They were in on the Spliced Arcane Twiddle. There's a Twiddle that can be spliced into Arcane, and so you, like, just, like, keep casting that card and splicing it, untapping your Lotus Field. That was definitely the coolest variant, I guess. Yeah, Fungus for Ranger Captain. Excited about that. Sure. Or if they have Force, they might bounce their leyline back to their hand. They do not do that. Let's sandbag the Vizier. I'm just gonna go Karn Ring here. And then we can potentially do something else with Karn like this next turn and like have that instead of exposing the ring. We did graveyard the woodlands, so we no longer have that to like backup ring if they counter this one, although a lot of their counter effects are exile based. So Fungus can also be tapped Land Explorer. Yeah, I think there's a chance that Titan main decks that card if Blood Moon is really popular because it's pactable. Oh, wow. They shouldn't be doing this, I think. Like, I don't really need this amulet anymore. I guess just people kind of misplay against this deck in general, huh? It kind of seems like they may maybe just have a binding. But let's just cast the ring and see if this resolves, and then yeah, I guess I'll play Forest here, and then if they binding the ring, I would just respond. So they let it go. So let's untap these. All right. Well, I mean, this is probably our best matchup by a lot. For whatever that's worth. Do they have a plan? All right, no plan. This hand's pretty close. I'm gonna click the keep button. I certainly don't like how all of my pre-Woodlands lands are tapped, but I think it's okay. I feel like the new Kaito is a shot through real card. Is that the one that like emblems your ninjas? Don't think I remember the text. Yeah, the spirit of Yorion lives on forever, I guess. We kind of need to find a payoff of our Rumble. They pitch press the enemies. They're playing Living End. Okay, so 4 mana, but ninjutsu 3. So you ninjutsu it in as a 3/4 hexproof. Then you could surveil 2 and draw a card. You could emblem your ninjas for a +1. And it also buffs itself and tap target creature, put 2 stun counters. I don't know. To be honest, I think this card is probably completely unplayable. I kind of don't. It costs so much mana, it doesn't do that much, you know, is maybe the simple way to put it, or maybe you could say that it's kind of win more. There's a lot of ways that you could say I dislike this card. All right, I'm going to bank on finding a ring off the stirrings here. Certainly a sweet card. Now, I think I'm just casting it. Obviously, second force negation. Well, Living End's going to Living End. Even without grief. Yeah, you need to be playing a ninjas deck, and there just aren't enough good ninja cards, but if somehow they printed a lot of good ninjas, you could do it. So awkward that I'm a mana short of going. Well, maybe can I just get bridge? Do I have a bridge? Do you have a bridge? So I have 4 + 2, 6. I guess I could just go for Karn Bridge. A 1/1 emblem is no joke, though. It is kind of a joke. I don't know. In Modern, like, anthems are not very good. It's like you make, I have an emblem. My creatures get +1/+1. Like, oh, that's great. I'm gonna cast Grapeshot. I'm gonna cast Titan. I'm gonna cast Goryo's Vengeance. I'm gonna cast Twiddle. I'm gonna cast All His Dust. It is kind of a joke. Could also get Ring, but I think I want to get Bridge first, and then I can get Ring. Like, also, like, even in like the only matchup that creature combat matters, Boros, their card quality is so much higher than yours, and they have really good removal. Want to get Ring instead of Bridge? Because then my Karn dies. But, like, this is game 1 against Living End. They have, like, a Boseiju in their deck, so here it is right now, obviously, immediately. But, and they have, like, an Otawara, but if we just dodge those, we're, like, pretty golden. Okay, it's Waker. But they actually have 4 looks at it here. This is game 1. They're not going to have Sync. I guess they have Sync, too. That's true. But I think the fact that we get to keep the Karn this way and have, like, that extra layer of protection is nice. And it's like, I would be happier to get the Ring here if I still had the Dreams Grips in my hand. If my hand was 2 Dreams Grips, it's, like, good. But I would have to kind of run somewhat well off the Ring here. So I think just getting Bridge first is better. It's a convo, I guess. I guess we'll float at blue mana here. I think I'm going to save the Lotus Field for... Oh my gosh. Sorry. Forgot about the agent. Not that killing my Karn matters that much, I guess, but matters a little bit. Okay, so now we do have protection from everything, so if they answer the bridge, we're not dead. Seems like we live to fight another day. Beating turn 3, 10 power plus double force of negation would be good, although they did force the Rumble really aggressively, maybe too aggressively. third Force of Negation. This bridge is definitely getting a little worse. The bridge now has no text. Maybe you could say that instead. If they have the fourth Force of Negation as their last card, somehow they have the fourth Force of Negation. I was kidding. I was kidding. No. Maybe it's sync. Okay. It's trying to get me to tilt concede, I guess. Now, we've run out of Twiddles. And running out of Twiddles is actually a pretty big problem, because I mean, I can ring and get protection here, right? But, like, the problem is I may not be able to combo off. I probably still can. Can I Karn for a key? No. I used to play, like, a Paradox engine in the board. I don't think it's still there. Oh, sorry, I thought I could still play my land. Okay, we're dead. Alright, we could beat the 3 Force Negations. Couldn't beat the, Sink into the Stupor. Yo, Chicken Little. I think we're supposed to play some Grazers first. I guess so. I just kind of didn't think... I thought if they had Sink into the Stupor, they would have played it there. Or, like, at least bounced my ring, right? I was wrong. But yeah, playing Grazers there was a way to play around it. I was thinking also holding the Grazers to have enough Storm for next turn might be important, but why didn't they bounce Bridge and kill me? I had protection. Yeah, I feel like they should have bounced the ring maybe in response to the first Twiddle. Maybe not though. Maybe not. Just to get protection again. It's probably a good play by them. Top 8 of my first RCQ with Gruul Aggro Storm, Questing Druid DRC. I saw your new energy version. My new energy version? I think the old formula of turn 2 Grape Shot rather than Stable Amulet is fantastic versus energy. A fair Grape Shot on turn 4-5 for their 1-2 toughness usually ends the game. I don't know what you're talking about with like my build. I have like the build with like you're talking about like the Ragavan DRC one with like unstable amulets and Underworld Breach, or which one? Yeah, there's a good number of Duskborn videos, Duskborn cards. It'll be probably a longer video. Is this Twiddle Amulet? I mean, we have amulets in the deck. Does that make it an amulet deck? I guess so. But amulet is just kind of like another Twiddle, honestly. It's like a preemptive Twiddle. That makes sense. Table made a weird sound. That might have been Athena. No, it doesn't look like it was. Referring to your older Narcomancer Storm and your new Ruby Medallion version. I see. I mean, you call that one new. I guess it's just like I played that deck like 2 or 3 months ago, it feels. But I did like that deck. Alright, let's give this one a go. I think I want a Grazer on turn 1. It was longer than that. I qualified for Denver. Well, I played an MH3 build of the deck, right? It's gone through a few variations. Oh, sorry, I should take in Breeding Pool. Not the biggest deal, I guess. I think I should put back the Dreams Grip so that we can be digging for more action if they force a negation my first ring here. Could this deck play Portent of Calamity too? No, I don't think so. It would have to be a pretty different deck. Because, like, what are you hitting off Portent? Just, like, a ring? So you're spending, like, 1,000,000 mana for it. You're probably not that good at getting to Delirium either. Getting Ragavan for Slickshot. Yeah, I thought we tried Slickshot. Maybe I'm misremembering. Why not play Grazer? I think it's better to sandbag Grazer as a ritual. So like it happens sometimes where you are using your Grazer as a ritual with multiple amulets, and in this spot, like the extra land didn't like help me ramp into anything next turn. Like I still just have 4 mana to cast the ring. Well, let's take a Karn. Nice that we can use Woodland to copy Lotus Field in this spot. Yeah, we do have Delirium. Another Force. Nice of Wizards to let living in players cut all their griefs, just play 8 copies of Force of Negation. I guess like it is. I was joking, but I guess with Seek into the Stupor, it's not not actually that dissimilar. It does seem like they have sync here. I just watched my Titans this video. How long have you been able to resist an update? Well, you watched the video. You saw how much I lost with the deck. I think I actually can't beat Commandeer on Karn. Just maybe a misbuilding of the deck, honestly. No Jegantha to save me. Oh, sorry. Also, did I forget Jegantha in the deck too? I may have. I think I did. Oh, no, I did have Jegantha. I don't necessarily think attacking with the Jegantha there was going to get there. We can be with another Karn. Right. It's pretty tough. Pretty tough. Vizier. Yeah. Okay, so we do have outs. We do have outs. I'm going to go eat lunch, though. Had a pretty crazy day yesterday. It feels like a good stopping point today. Challenge on Friday, Super Qualifier on Sunday. Not sure what we're going to be playing tomorrow. We may play some Leyline Binding Control. Just got